So I decided to participate in the third blackthornprod game jam because why not? I did have schoolwork, but I figured I could try and work mainly on the weekend and work a little bit each day of the week. The day of the jam came and the theme was less is more. After a little bit of brainstorming, I eventually came up with the idea of the less you move, the more powerful you become. Now that I had the idea, it was time to get working. The beginning of day one was mainly just me setting some things up and getting the main mechanics working. I made a player movement script, then made a script to change the movement speed based on how much the player is moved. All that the script does is check if the player is moving, then decrease the speed, and if the player is not moving, increase the speed. After a little bit of coding, we now have a working player. When you move a lot, it slows the player down, but if you wait a few seconds, you can move faster again. The next thing I added was an enemy. My idea for this game at this point would be that enemies are coming out of a portal and you have to defend a diamond that they are trying to steal. If you become fast enough, you can ram the enemies at high speeds to kill them. It's weird, I know. The enemy didn't take that long to code either, for some reason. Because after a little bit more coding, we now have an enemy that will stop at nothing to take the diamond. It also tries its best to avoid you since it knows how powerful you can become. The last thing I did on day one was make some blood particles for the enemies when you kill them. That's about it for day one, at least. As the title probably said, day 2 was spent making game stats in the corner of the screen and actual sprites for the enemy, player, and portal. I started by making some game stats that tell you your current speed, if you can kill enemies or not, and how many enemies you've killed. It didn't really take me that long, it was pretty easy. Next, of course, I added sprites. Let's just say that the player and enemy sprite that I made was questionable. Yeah. Actually, let's just move on from those. Day 3, I started to work on the tutorial in the main menu. The tutorial was pretty easy. I made a script that allows you to go through the tutorial by pressing Z. After I made that, we now have a working tutorial. Granted, it's kinda bad, but it's still a tutorial, so I'm gonna keep it. Day 4 and 5, I was busy with schoolwork and did absolutely nothing, so we're just gonna skip these days. Day 6, I tried, and failed, to add more modes to the game, like a mode where you have to try and take back the diamond that the enemy stole, as well as a mode where you have to survive the enemies for as long as possible. The reason they are not in the game now is because I didn't have time to finish them and they are really buggy, so I just left them out. So, since these basically have no point of being in the video, let's just skim over this. It's the final day and I still haven't added any sound effects or even set my game jam page up. So the first thing, of course, that I did was make some sound effects. Oh, and I forget to mention that there was only 2 hours left for me to submit my game? Anyways, after adding all of the sound effects that I needed into the game, here's some gameplay because why not? Now I need to build the game, and apparently WebGL builds take like 30 minutes to build, and I did not realize that. After it finished building, I set up my jam page and submitted it 26 minutes and 19 seconds before the deadline. I will leave a link in the description so you can go check out my game. I'll try and release this video before the rating period ends on the jam, but if I'm too late, at least my game will still be there. Alright, see you in the next video, I guess. After adding all of the sound effects that I needed into the game, here's some gameplay because why the no- Wait, why does my script say why? Oh. My script says, why the not? I need to do this again.